What's up, Chelsea fans? We're back, and clearly one of us is excited. Sharon, how you feeling?
Yes, excited is the right word. I'm not usually in such a positive mood, I think, as most people know by now. But yeah, uh, the new season is creating all these feelings that I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, so what? But what's got you excited? Is it the fact that we saw them in preseason, we saw Alonso, we saw the team, and we have a better idea of how things are looking, or are you just optimistic? Dare I say it for the season
No, no,
ahead?
no, no, no. I'm not going to let you carry on. It was more the fact that yes, you came to Hong Kong. We had a great time at the stadium. We watched the
Yeah.
training session, which was a first for me as well. So they've kind of sold me on the new season through kind of their kind of branding and PR and coming all the way to Hong Kong. So yeah, kudos to the commercial team over there, at least from my perspective. What about you, man? You're being your usual self.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the highlight of the trip was coming to see the boys. It was great spending time with you and the fam and everything, and it was a good quality time, I think. Um, but yeah, I'm super caked about the season as well. I think we have a couple of points to discuss, basically key takeaways from preseason, but then I'm ready to jump right into it and
Yeah,
like look
I mean,
forward to
why don't
what's
you get
coming.
us started? Because that was also your first, like proper, I say proper, your first time watching Chelsea actually play.
Yeah,
Take
it was.
any key takeaway from the season, preseason, before we kick it off.
I think one of the things I was most surprised by, I think I said this when we were whatever recording from the stadium, was how loud Alonso was. That was something that I was
Yeah.
like really shocked. The
Whoa.
guy like I mean, the training was one thing, but even on the match day, we could hear him like shouting, and that was like a full stadium, so that was pretty cool. And I just like to see like it was the first time obviously experiencing both a training and a match, and in the training like seeing how they're trying out different patterns in play. There was that one particular pattern which was going on repeat, and then the second ball work as well. I think that was really good to see, and seeing them try it out on the pitch, not always translating the same way it did in training, of course, but seeing it go from training pitch to match was kind of cool. And I think overall, I think I was also really glad to see that we have a true poacher back in the squad, like in Danny Welbeck. Like I think he's gonna be a late game like hack where he's gonna come on and just like come
You
and
know,
make.
Welbeck has played a long time, but one thing I don't think he's ever been referred to is as a cheat code, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No fair, but I mean, look, I was impressed by his finishing, and it was great. I think we called this out as well. Mudrik got the loudest reception, which was great to see. That was really good as well. I think everyone's ready to welcome him back, and hopefully
I,
he can
I
put this
was I
behind
was
him.
really surprised at just how well received he was.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that he was so well loved, particularly in Hong Kong, but I think it's just the fact that everyone loves a speedster, you know. I mean, it
yeah,
could be more
yeah.
than that, but it definitely shouldn't be that we're supporting somebody who potentially broke some anti-doping stuff. Also,
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
during that training session, did you realize like just how bad our long shot department was?
I mean, I think, yeah, I could see that it's bad. I feel like they were working on it, right? Like the whole that second ball work that they were doing, recycling the ball immediately, giving it to someone, and there were shots coming in from just at the edge of the box. I think that's something that he's working on, and I think that's probably the one thing I like is that there seems to be a clear focus on getting the ball up the pitch further, faster, and getting it into the goal from different positions. It's not like, slow it down, wait for everyone to come and all of that, right? And I think you talked a little bit about that when it came to like the tactics, what you saw in the preseason games, right?
Yeah, that's straight off the bat the main thing I've seen. This is definitely my kind of top of mind difference between Alonso and Maresca is Maresca was using the ball for significant portions of the game to actually limit the amount of defending we had to do. So it was a defensive way of playing the game, but just by retaining the possession. right? Trying not to be so risky. We're not seeing that as much with Alonso. I think we might see it a bit more later on in the season when maybe there's a bit more to play for, right? And game management is one of those key terms that we keep needing to learn every season, right? Uh, when that becomes more, useful during games, yeah, we'll see it. But for now, we're kind of just saying, okay, look, if there's an opportunity to send the ball forward, either into the pocket or into the channel or to the feet of a striker, we're just giving it to them. Like we're waiting for our patterns of play to kind of fit well, and then we're hitting. You know, and actually that's also got me quite excited because I remember saying this at the start of last season and even the season before that. Why are we not using the players we have to their full potential in terms of going forward? They're all rapid. They have very good technical ability. Give them counter-attacking opportunities. So I think when it comes to what I saw in preseason, I'm low-key excited. I don't get like full-blown, you know, crazy, right? But yeah, it's good to see that, okay, he's actually going to rely on us, maybe stepping off the ball a bit, inviting teams on and trying to counterattack as well. I think he's seen that as a potential way of breaking teams down.
Yeah, I agree. So you obviously had a couple of long threads after you've watched the preseason games, but any other significant call outs before we jump into what we're looking or what our expectations are for the season?
I think, aside from that, I think what's really important to see is he's asking these guys, again, this is more going forward, right? Because our defense was crap last season, right? We're going to have to get way better at it this season because of the extra amount of defending we have to do. But again, going forward, he's asking them to be a little bit more fluid in terms of off the ball movement. It all got drab at times under Maresca because everything was being played to feet, to feet. It would hit the wingers, and you're relying on the wingers to beat their man, but everybody knows what you're trying to do. So then you recycle the ball, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to take the risk right now. It all got very slow and tepid, and it looked very stale, like there was nothing creative about it. In this style of play, and again, it's very early on, but you're seeing a lot more positional rotations, right? Which is another good way of breaking teams down, aside from just relying on individual ball carrying or, individual moments of brilliance, which Pochettino also benefited from, when Palmer was hot. So that for me would be the other uh, kind of thing to mention, right? But let I guess it's very early on. We'll keep an eye on it. What about you, man? Any kind of parting words for the preseason?
Uh, I didn't watch all the games. I think I've discussed this with you, but from what I did see, yes, I liked that. There was versatility, quite a bit of chopping and changing while he was experimenting with the lineups. We saw the likes of Gusto playing in CM, which, I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. I saw another sequence of his movement during the lead up to the goal, João Pedro's goal, and he looked all right there. I mean, he didn't look great, but it was good to make that movement and get the pass through. But yeah, I'm just encouraged by the fact that we seem to have someone who has a clear idea and wants to actually, like you said, with Maresca, it was a very, very like stale at times. We seem to have someone who wants to keep it fresh and wants to try different things. And I'm just excited, man. Like, and I think João Pedro is looking really, really good based on preseason. He's looking to pick up where he left off. Like, he has a point to prove. I think the Ancelotti snub really, really has motivated him. Um, I did find Cole Palmer a little bit quiet at times, and I'm curious to see how that goes for the rest of the season. And I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about our takes and everything.
Well, yeah,
So
I was just going to say you picked up on a few personnel names there, right? And you talked about keeping it fresh and a guy who kind of knows who's got a clear plan. What about you? What would you say is your preferred starting 11 in that case?
Okay, so my starting 11, I think starting at the top with the keepers, it's pretty clear that we're going Sanchez versus Penders for number one. I don't think Penders is ready to start immediately, so Sanchez makes it in goal for me. What do you think?
I guess we don't really have a choice. It'd be too ballsy, and maybe a bit unfair to put that much pressure on Penders, right? To just start the season as the number one keeper. And we just so happen to be going to Fulham just down the road, right? So you want somebody who at least can claim they have the experience. Uh, so yeah, I can't really dispute you there. But you mentioned players like Gusto, right? Does he feature in your sort of starting defense?
Uh, right now, no. I'm going to stick with a back three, and I think Reece James starts at right center back for me. Lacroix in the middle, and Cowell on the left. And then the wing backs, I have Palestra on the right, and I'm going with Shavaria on the left. Though I feel like it may be too early for him, but I would just want to play a right wing back on the right wing and a left wing back on the left wing. Like I don't want to play anyone OOP, right? What about you?
I have a feeling we're going to end up with very similar squads. I think at the end of last season, we both mentioned that we want to see more defenders on the pitch just simply because of how bad we are at defending. But also that means adding a bit more strength, more aerial presence. Not to mention you have, I would say, additional leadership. I think our defenders are slightly more like they're slightly better leaders. So I'm looking at pretty much the same thing, except I would just call it a back five. And then the good thing about playing this way or lining up this way is that if you need to switch to a back four in defense, you still can without needing to make a sub. So yeah, I have Palestra at right wing back. I think he's been phenomenal in preseason. So that's already saying much. But I think he's reminding us of something that we didn't have, which is pure like physique, like running power, you know. We used to have that in James, but he doesn't have that anymore. So yeah, I go Palestra right wing back, Reece James right centre back, Lacroix central centre back, and Colwell left centre back, and I'm playing Hato instead of Chavaria. But yeah, like I think you're seeing it as a back three. I'm seeing it as a back five, but pretty much same thing, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It is. And then who'd you have ahead of the defenders?
I mean, look, this is the first time where I'll say, like, look, the four that I've picked in midfield, it kind of picks itself because the quality level is just so high. Like, it should be, touch wood. I don't want to jinx anything. We've got Palmer, Caicedo, Enzo, and Rogers from right to left. Uh, and I'm assuming, like, unless you're making a huge shout and you're dropping Enzo, I can't see who else you bring in.
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty much aligned. I don't see us playing Neto. I think honestly Neto's gonna be he won't be with us past the window. Um, and of course, like I said, contingent on Enzo Fernandez staying, but I'm assuming he's staying right now. The quote unquote deadline. We obviously. I mean, what was your take on that before we go further? What was your take on
The
this deadline?
deadline within the deadline, so they're calling it deadlineception. I don't, dude. I find it ridiculous because we're also hearing reports that we still have enough money in the bank, um, and also apparently enough game time to give to an Adam Scott, right? Who I think would be a good replacement if Enzo left. Yes, I agree. But then you're like, okay, so then why are we haggling and all of that? Just set your price and say yes or no. Uh, it's for me, it's all clearly a negotiation. I don't know if that's your takeaway as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I think if it's just a negotiation, it's a bit weak. I think that they set a deadline. It was pretty clear you have until Friday 4 p.m. to make a bid for Enzo Fernandez, and you get him at 120 million. That's the figure. And if you don't, that's the part where I think it's weak, right? You got to say if you don't, he's unavailable. You don't say yeah, that's the deadline and leave it there, because now it's open to interpretation, right? We know that City want him. There were reports of Jorge Mendes being brought in to facilitate it, but City saying they won't pay more than 120 million. But Chelsea saying, well, you have until
But just
Friday
to play
4
a
p.m.
devil's advocate here, if you come out and categorically say he's unavailable, does that mean they go and just get Adam Scott? So I think Chelsea are quite open to selling, right? And they're trying to anchor at 120, right? If not higher. So there was still talk about him potentially leaving for less, right? And City, I think, had put in a much lower bid of around 120 million euro, right?
Yeah,
So that's why I think these are all mainly negotiating tactics, because I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up selling him for 125 million pounds on deadline day or close to deadline day. I mean, would you be surprised if he went for even just under 120, because all the forces combined, external, internal, and he saw his way out?
I would actually be surprised if that happened. That would shock me, because letting him go on deadline day means you're basically, see, if
Well, I
we
mean,
leave it
it's
that
not
way,
necessary to let him go on deadline
whether
day, but
fair enough, even
because
even
again,
if it
they
is
set the
deadline day.
internal deadline 2.5 weeks before the actual deadline day. So,
Well, which is why I'm saying then stick to it and say he's not available. But if you're going to leave it open, right, what you're doing is, that everyone's aware that 120 million is the price. The market is so inflated. I mean, we paid 117 million for Morgan Rogers. Elliot Anderson went at 116. By those figures, there's no way Enzo should be less than 120. In fact, 120 is a bargain for the level that he contributed vis-a-vis those players, right?
well,
Um,
yes and
so
no, because we could agree to a deal which is slightly under 120 in cash, but then the rest on bonuses. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily always have
yeah,
to be
no,
upfront, especially
that
considering
I
how
get.
much they just sold Rodri for. But I think
See,
let's bring it back, because this isn't a transfer pod. I see what you're trying to do.
fair.
I see what you're trying
Yeah.
to do.
No, 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 no.
We'll
No, I
cover
wasn't
we'll
trying to make
cover
it a
the
transfer pod.
transfers when it's done, and we'll also
No,
do
that's
a bit
fair.
on like the squad management and stuff. I think
Yes, naturally.
he's staying for now, so it's fair enough to put him in your team. But I think basically the rest of the team picks itself, right? The front five.
Yeah.
You, I mean, I'm not playing Welbeck ahead of
No,
JP.
fair. I mean, João Pedro is an easy starter up front, and yeah, Palmer's and Rogers behind him should be the way it goes. I don't think that changes. So that's an easy. I think we're pretty much aligned, except Chavaria and
Left
Jandro.
wing back, which is such a controversial position.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense also when you come at it from the point of view of we need more defenders, considering he's going to ask us to do more actual defending. Right? And we can't sit off teams like the way we did last year and not
Mm.
have better defensive capabilities on the pitch. That's the reason why I go for a back five with more aerial presence. Not to
Fair.
mention you
Fair.
you get the likes of Cole, Lacroix, James, who I'm hearing Lacroix's vocal, could be wrong, could be the same level as Tosin.
No, he is, man. I think he's a lot more vocal. I think I've seen clips of him like geeing up fans and everything as well. He looks like he's a real leader on the pitch, and I think that's one thing we've missed for sure. So, yeah.
Clips
Um,
of very dangerous material, mate. I can clip anything in and make anyone look like a supreme leader. Okay,
no, that's fair.
speaking of supreme leader. Okay, player of the season. Go.
João Pedro, I think, has to continue the streak he's been on. So
So you're saying
that's
two
him.
in a row.
Did he? Did he win it last season? He probably did.
Of
Did he?
course, that's
Oh
how
yeah, of
we
course he
kept it.
did. Yeah, yeah. No,
That's how we kept it.
but yeah. No, but I think yeah, he's gonna continue where he left off. Yeah.
Okay, so
You?
what do you think gets him that award? Like, are we talking 25 GA this season?
That seems doable. Yeah, I would say 25, easy. Yeah, I think we've missed that sort of 20 goal a season consistently for a couple of seasons, striker. So I think he's got the potential.
So
So yeah,
we're switching Garnacho watch to JP watch.
please. We're not doing a watch.
No, we're not.
This watch is ended. This watch is ended.
Okay, man's
No,
laying
but
down his
I mean,
arms. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
For
No,
for
but what?
me, I've got Cole. I've
Okay.
I've always said it on the pod that I'm a sucker for a good defender, but I think Cole will. It's very easy to say this, but when he's on form, then we have nothing like him because he's shown that he's our best defender just in the last few games of last season. And also on the ball, the passing angles he's able to hit. Buddy at Shield was nowhere near. Absolutely like gone. Like not even same league. And then of course, he comes back in and in the last few games of last season, and you're like, oh wait a minute, like you can actually bollock your teammates and still be respected. But he was gone the whole season. And the previous season, we'd seen that, they were talking about him as like a potential future captain of the team. I think that's where we're going to see if he's able to be fit and Reece James sometimes, has to be rested. At least you have a defensive leader who's Chelsea through and through. So I'm just laying down my case there, just putting in defender
Okay.
for the end of the season.
It's a fair case. It's a fair case. Um, so who do you think is going to be signing of the season, considering everyone we've signed
I,
so
I'm
far?
I'm sticking with my defenders. I'm going Lacroix. I,
Okay.
I thought about uh Rogers, but he'd have to outperform João Pedro for him to be even close to the player of signing in the season, right? What about you?
For me, it's Palestra, man. I think I called this out even during the preseason time. Like the guy is a unit, man. He's huge, and I think I'm really excited by what he brings to the pitch. I think you mentioned as well when we were talking the other day that he's a two-footed player. He can play right wing back. He can play left wing back as well. So I'm excited to see what he brings, and I think he's gonna really lift the team. So it's Palestra for me.
Okay, and if I can go back to being on brand for a sec, who do you think is on their make or break potentially last season at Chelsea? And
um,
you can't say Lavia because it's already done. Lavia is already
yeah,
done. You know.
I think well, then it's a bit tough. Hmm. I think then it's got to be Fofana. We said this last season as well for him, but okay, we both not got him in our starting 11, but he's going to have to make the most of the time he gets and really show that he's worth everything we've paid for him. Um, and he's going to need to
You
do
know,
that as well because, yeah,
considering Enzo Fernandez hasn't had that much of a preseason. Like again, what we discussed earlier was our preferred starting lineups, and they ended up being very similar, right? But at the end of the day, that's when everybody's injury free, on form, best of the best. But Enzo Fernandez hasn't had much of a preseason. He's got all this drama surrounding him. I wonder if he doesn't feature in the first couple games. And that opens up a slot in midfield for Reece James, which has a knock-on effect of bringing Fofana in. So he actually. Oh wait, but doesn't he have a red card? Oh, dude, he has suspension to serve. So forget that idea. Looks like Achiapong might
yeah,
actually be starting earlier this season.
maybe. No, but yeah, I mean, I think it's Fofana for me. What about you?
I had Fofana down as well. I think he's definitely, if you're ranking this, make or break, he's number one. I think Gittins for me is on the list, but if he didn't have such a great season, I would
He was
still say
injured,
there's
man. Like,
there's sorry.
yeah, he's basically he was injured last season, so I think it's a little unfair to say make or break when he
But
wasn't
I mean,
there.
we spent £54 million on it. So
I
I'm not
know,
going to
I
say
know.
that the pressure is totally off. If anything, last season was
Yeah.
his pressure off. This season, there is a certain level of expectation. He needs to be decent. And if he's not, I could see him leaving at the end of the season. Um,
Okay,
but
fair.
Fofana is definitely in or out, for sure.
Mhm.
The other less sort of obvious one is Acheampong, but not for the same reasons. I think it's make or break for us, which is kind of sad to say, right? Because I really, really rate Acheampong. He's just from the brief appearances I saw of him from preseason, he looks like he's added a few things to his game as well. And his ball
Mhm.
carrying from the back is just him and Hato are similar in that regard, but Acheampong's slightly better. So if we don't play him enough, is what I'm trying to say. If we don't play him enough, if we don't show him enough, then I think he might actually leave next summer.
There's talk of him going on loan. That he'd be someone we consider sending out on loan. And maybe somebody was I saw a link to Coventry, and I wouldn't be mad at that if he got to develop under Frank. But that's obviously something we got to monitor, right?
That's the transfer guru chiming in. But we want regular old Prashant back. Okay. So the other day we talked about, some of we were just having laughs about some of this stuff. And you had a pretty crazy wild card prediction. So why don't you share it with the class?
So obviously, I had a ridiculous one last season, and we are bearing that now. Garnacho is out of the picture. I think my wild card take this season is Estevao is going to outscore Palmer. Yeah, that's it. And I have strong
Is it
rationale behind it.
outscore or like outperform in terms of assists as well?
I'm going to say in the FPL term, points are given for goals and assists, right? So I'm going to say he's going to outscore Palmer in terms, which means he's going to have more goal contributions than Palmer. Very intentional about this because I think from what I've seen of Palmer, at least in the few games I saw, it seems he's a little bit more quiet. It's not that he's not influencing play, but it's that he's influencing play from deeper lying positions, or he's involved in the build up, but he's not at the end of the final pass or the goal. The goal, the shot on goal, and because of that, I think Esteva is going to benefit by being more direct, more involved in the goals and assists, and I think he's going to outscore Palmer. So that's my wild card take. What's yours?
Okay, so mine is kind of tied together, right? So I've
Okay.
got wild card and I've got biggest flop, which was going to be my next question to you. Okay, so considering all the turmoil or the drama that Fernandez is going through, right? I actually think Lavia is on his redemption arc. Okay, that's how wild I'm going. Right? Now, because they're in central midfield, I'm not going to talk about GA. All I'm saying is I made the same prediction last season with Santos playing more minutes than Fernandez. But I'm putting it out there that Lavia is
You
going
don't
to be
learn.
redeemed. He's going to be
Okay.
redeemed. Now,
Okay.
everyone else can decide whether I'm right on this at the end of the season. But I'm going straight into my biggest flop because the heights are set, the standards are set, and the stage is set for Fernandez to come into the system and actually finally be the deep lying playmaker that we were promised. You know, we've seen that he can do it in the 10. He can also do it in 8, like more box to box. He's got decent movement. But we were promised like a deep lying playmaker, somebody who could control the game. It's all set up for him. The hype is there, the belief is there,
He
everyone's
set up
there
the
around
fail.
him. And it's all set. Like that's where you just see sometimes the rug is just pulled under the guy, and oh shit,
Oh
it's not
God.
clicking. He gets into his head. We get like the first few months of old school Enzo Fernandez when he first signed. So yeah, everything's going hand in hand. It's all coming up Lavia this season. Your thoughts?
I'm encouraged by the fact that you have this prediction because it means you see Enzo Fernandez staying. However, for me, the biggest flop is going to be Lavia. I think we've gone 3 years with him like just barely making it through, and I feel like this is the season if he doesn't go out, which is also something that was rumored again, transfer guru coming in, but there was a link to Monaco. If that doesn't happen, I think we're going to see that uh, he won't make the most of his playing time, and I feel like there's a lot for the players to benefit from having a manager like Alonso in this in driving everything, and if he doesn't take advantage of that, we're going to see him flop. So I'm going complete zig where you're going zag.
Okay, so you're not allowed to put Lavia as biggest flop just because he's already flopped. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't like kick him while he's down. That's just not fair. Okay, let's move it along. So I think the only kind of other key predictions we haven't made are probably the most, important ones. So where do we finish in the Prem, and how many trophies do we have in the bag at the end of the season? And just remember, you're speaking as a resident optimist.
Yeah, I think we finished top four. I think it's going to be Arsenal and United and City and us in the top four. And I think we finish with one of the domestic trophies for sure. That's it for me. What about you?
So we're trophyless. I can just, everyone expected me to say that. But I also have us finishing seventh, which I think is a very, respectable improvement from last
Okay.
season.
Okay.
And I know what you're going to ask me. I came prepared. So I have Arsenal winning the season again. I'm sorry. It's just that everybody aside from Arsenal, who could feasibly be in the top 6 or top 10, is just going through some sort of transition, and they are the most stable club. I think finishing second, I've got United. Uh, Adding Santos is a very smart move to that midfield. I really think that's some shrewd business there. Third place, I'm going to put. Uh, I keep going back and forth on this, but I think I'm going to put Liverpool in there. I think Iraola in the second half of the season is gonna have things click. He's still getting them up to speed. Fourth place for Man City, fifth place for Spurs, and sixth place for Aston Villa, and then the rest is history. So I can see that
Interesting.
I've thoroughly killed you.
Interesting. No, I'm actually very intrigued by your rationale because for me, the way I look at it, Liverpool are looking very, very off the pace. There's a chance they lose Gakpo as well. Sure, they might get Barcola and the other guy from PSG,
Dude,
the other wing
can
back.
I say losing Gakpo is not the end of the world? And then if you throw
No,
Bakula into the mix, that's a huge upgrade.
it is. It is. No, but I feel like Gakpo contributed with some key goals that I don't know. Like Isak has obviously didn't have the season you'd expect out of the marquee signing that he was. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's a long shot to say Liverpool are going to finish that high, personally. And honestly, City, I put them in there as well in the top four mix, but they look very, very out of sorts. Like Maresca's style was very like it wasn't as attacking as City of the past have been. And I just don't see Villa and Spurs challenging that much. Maybe Spurs, but Villa, I don't think so. I mean, I think Watkins looks like he's on his way out. Jackson might go to Villa. I don't know if they're gonna be challenging the way that you imagine. Spurs, I could still understand, considering that it is De Zerbi after all. He manages to get the best out of players, and Spurs have made a lot of acquisitions. But it remains to be seen how that translates to the league, and it is Spurs after all, right? So for me, I'm very interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, as we always are, and find our top 7, just because I put us at 7 in the description down below.
I
Um,
also I also feel like sorry, we on our last pod, we said one of the things, at least I said one thing that you said is not in our control, but one thing that needs to happen from a financial perspective is Europe. So for me, I feel like that has to be an objective and it has to be something we hit and not the Conference League. I mean, definitely not the Conference League, Europa still, but you got to go for the Champions League, man. So it has to be a target and it has to be
But
something we do.
but this is my annual reminder to you that just because it's an objective doesn't mean it's going to happen. Because
I understand that. No,
yeah,
I understand.
so I
It's a
imagine
prediction at the end of the day.
the 7 teams I named, right? 6 of them have got bare minimum Champions League qualification as their objective. One of them has
Yeah.
bare minimum title again, because Arsenal are definitely win now. So that's where I'm at. I'm taking all the objectives as, look, everybody wants to be in the top half. Everybody wants to be in the top 4, right? So you just got to look at the managers that they have, the preparation that they've done, and the transfers they've made. So
Fair.
I did also have some, slightly more jovial questions for you, because I knew that I would kind of put a spanner into the mix with my predictions. I know you're not going to be able to sleep well tonight. So, okay, I've got a few questions for you. Who's going to have haircut of the season?
We're doing these rapid fire though.
Wherever
So
you
haircut
want,
of
man.
the season.
It's your pod. Haircut of the season.
No,
Go.
I'm João Pedro, the fro. You?
Okay. I think it's going to be between Palestra or Gittins. I'm waiting to see what Palestra does with the snake cut, but yeah, let's see how it pans out. Most likely to get a social media ban.
There's only one answer. Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah,
You?
I actually can't dispute that unless somebody starts to whistleblow from inside the dugout or from from the dressing room. But again, it's most likely to be Enzo Fernandez who does that. Okay, combined appearances for Welbeck and Henderson in the Premier League.
The vets. I think
Yo,
I'm
the
going with
Vets is a great name.
I'm going with a healthy 20, 22 appearances for both of them, with Welbeck dominating that actually.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm gonna go 18. You said 22, right?
Yeah, 22.
Okay, amazing. Who from the current kind of squad? I mean, you can kind of put fringe players like Tosin aside, right? Who basically kind of fades away in this first half of the season and then goes inevitably out on loan in January.
Emega.
Ooh. I actually totally forgot about it. I actually
Yeah.
forgot about it. Okay.
Yeah. He's sticking around for sure, it seems. So I think the jump is going to be a bit too high. We may have put a lot of eggs in that basket. So I feel like he's going to need a loan. You?
I was going to say Achiampong, because as much as we are hyped to see him, as much as Alonso race him, I have a feeling it's going to turn out to be one of those, yeah, but we need to win right now, so I'm not going to risk playing him. But yours was better. Most wanted deadline day sale.
Gusto.
Oh, it's strange, man. But I think at this, like, seeing where the squad is today as we record, I think I'd keep him. And like we said, we're putting players like Tosin to one side because it goes without saying, if we can get value for them, like those kind of players, please sell them. I think it's got to be Neto, and it's funny because today all of this stuff has come out about us valuing him at 100 million for Al Hilal or Al whatever. So
Yeah.
I'd sell him for 60 or 70 and just recoup what we paid. But if we can get 100, why not?
I mean, we'll have to see, right? But I think the reason I don't say that's going to be a deadline day sale is because I think it happens quicker. I think Gusto is going to be one that comes down to that, like close to the deadline, and it is something that we're going to try to get over the line. So yeah.
But basically, this question was, who do you want out most of the club? And then you said Gusto. So Any particular feelings you have towards Gusto that you want to air out?
No, I think like look, we've seen him enough seasons, and yes, he does have potential, but I don't think that the way the team is being built, I think that I would rather have because we go back to something that we were talking about in our previous episodes, right, about the squad structure. I think I could see and Esteval playing at right wing back, which I think happened in one of the preseason games already. And I think then if you have Esteval there behind your Palestra, you don't need a Gusto. And we'd be playing him out of position in CM. If we did that, would just be wasting minutes that could go to a natural midfielder. So I would say he's surplus right now. And if we can, I know we're holding out for a high valuation, but if we get 60 million for him, I take it. So that's my rationale. I think we've seen enough of him as well.
I actually I do want to jump in and say, considering I saw every minute of preseason, right? I actually do think that we lose in the trade-off by playing a winger and wing back, and I think it's something we can only get away with against certain teams. We were getting done in preseason by uh, JDW, whatever that team is from Malaysia, Indonesia, wherever. Um,
Yeah.
just because we were playing two wingers as wing backs, and also against Sociedad when Neto played when he dropped into the back line at right back, right wing back, he was getting played. He was getting played up against and played around. He had no idea where to be positionally against better movers, faster movers, a more coherent team with better technical quality, right? So I think we should be very careful. This is another one of the takeaways from watching preseason, right? We should be very careful what we wish for. And I'd rather have the extra defensive option in the squad. Plus, it's not like Neto isn't like he's at his peak right now. And I'm not sure if he's good enough for where we want to be. So I'm thinking cash in on him now and let Kenda have a go. I also think that right wing spot, they're being asked to do, it isn't so much of the beat your man on the outside. Sometimes they have to cut in and play through balls or early crosses. I think for me, Kenda has definitely got some pedigree, especially in the through ball aspect. But anyway, those are just my feelings against Neto.
Fair
Nothing personal,
enough.
though.
Remains to be seen. But yeah, there was one thing we had to talk about. So, are you planning to actually manage FPL this time?
No comment.
Now, but on that note, we will have the We Burn Blue League up and running, and hopefully, we'll have some regular content out on that front.
Okay,
And we'll
so
have
I
a
guess
regular
I
manager
guess
as
I am
well.
doing it then, right? It's not what you've decided.
Yeah, I think so. But were there any other rapid fires you had? Because I think that was all I had.
No, no,
Oh,
no. I think
no, there is one. There is one. There is one. How many red cards are we getting this season?
that's gonna be a fan favorite every season now. So you had mentioned offline that we had 11, including managerial
11.
red cards. So including managerial red cards this season. Actually, let's talk about the full dugout. Like anybody who can get sent off, it can be like a fitness coach, right? I'm going to go 5 because I don't think you can go from 11 to 0. So, and it's got to be a little bit of fun this season.
I'm going 3. I think 3 red cards. Yeah.
Ever the optimist, but still throwing some red cards on the table, which means you've
Yeah.
learned from last season. You're
Yeah.
you're you're growing with the squad, man. I see you.
No, for sure, man. I think the unwavering optimism is I've learned for sure. But that said, I am super pumped for this season. I think um, Xabi Alonso represents a manager that we are genuinely excited about. It's not like we had to look for reasons to be excited about. I think the fact that he is as a player, everybody knows his track record. There is already something that brings to the training room where the kids, these young players have seen him, you know, as they were growing up and they recognize what he can bring. So it's not like where they're questioning who is this guy to be telling me what to do, right? Especially some of the bigger egos in the dressing room. So on that front, I'm genuinely excited for this season, and I can't wait for the game, versus Fulham. How about you?
Well, I'm not going to be able to watch it because it's in it basically like 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, but I just like the fact that it says a lot. It says a lot that they haven't had to put too much into the marketing and the PR and the social media spiel to justify bringing Alonso on. It's like, yo, this guy is an invincible in Germany, and his team was not Bayern Munich. That says it all, right? Real is Real. Everybody in the wider footballing world knows that that club is like, it's very high maintenance, right?
Yeah,
And you can respect a man for going in there, trying, and being like, okay, maybe this wasn't me.
yeah,
I wasn't at that level. But yeah, they haven't had to sell Alonso to us like they had to sell Potter, Pochettino because of his Spurs links, uh,
yeah,
Rosinha, Maresca. I mean, you name it, right? Even Callum
yeah,
McFarlane, when he had to take over for those few games in each stint, there was always some, oh man, yeah, he's got some chops, like he knows what he's doing. Hey, with Alonso, it's like, let's just
yeah.
focus on the game.
So one last prediction to close this. What's your call for the game versus Fulham?
We're gonna learn a lot of lessons, which is always the good thing in life. You know, you should always be learning. So I take that as we'll learn more than what Fulham learned. So we'll win in that regard, but we'll still lose the game. You?
Oh, look at you getting all philosophical. I think we win this, man. I think we kick it off with a win. So that's it for me.
But there's a chance we don't have Neto or Tyreek George. Well, we definitely don't have Tyreek
We
George.
don't have Tyreek
So,
George, yeah.
I mean, who's going to win us this game?
Oh, we have players. We've got a pretty stacked squad, I think. I think we'll be good. Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
win.
and on that note, look forward to our next pod where we will give our thoughts on the squad management and how we've landed up after deadline day, because it's Chelsea. It always proves to be very active, even if maybe there's only one or two gaps left in our squad. I think, in terms of the model, the business model, and the fact that they need to actually turn some players over means that yeah, we should see at least a few outs.
Oh, at least more than a few outs, I think. But on that note, let us know whose take is the wilder one. And if you like what you hear, subscribe, share this with other Chelsea fans, leave us some love over on Spotify or YouTube, and we'll catch you on the next one.
If Lavia proves you wrong, you have to get a jersey with him on the back. Peace.
Okay.